I'm upset more at myself for letting myself get so angry or get so upset that I have outbursts like that in public.
It's the morning after the night before, and Riley has woken up in reflective mood. He's embarrassed by his own actions. He's upset by his anger. So how's Violet feeling this morning?
You're supposed to protect me. Over here, you trampled and insult me. You don't deserve to be a man. Wow, okay.
You don't deserve to be a man. Wow, Violet isn't holding back on the punches. Now, before we dive into all the developments and the drama, we left the pair last week, both swearing that this was it. It was over.
Okay, beat it.
Yes.
Beat it.
Nice.
I don't know about you, but that clip makes me super uncomfortable. It's the complete lack of respect that he has. The way he tells her to beat it like she's a stray dog. And when we join Riley in this episode, he's still trying to work out where it all went wrong.
It was supposed to just be a nice evening together, a real date. And it turned into fireworks.
Yeah, because of you, Riley. It was supposed to be a nice date, and it was. That is, until you decided to call your friend. Until you organised an attack on your partner about your concerns that you were too cowardly to bring up yourself. Like, does Riley even understand that he's the one that's responsible for the ruined dinner? Or does he just blame Violet?
I'm upset more at myself for letting myself get so angry or get so upset that I have outbursts like that in public in a foreign country.
So, was last night a taste of Riley's infamous temper that we've been told about? As I'm sure you recall, Riley's anger was one of the things that her family were most concerned about.
Okay, she wants to know if my temper will change. I want to be good to Violet. I just don't like being lied to.
Even Riley acknowledges that he gets angry and loses control of his emotions. And yet, he's not sorry about how it affects Violet. He conveniently chooses to see it as all being her fault.
I really wish things didn't get so heated, but I felt insulted. But I don't regret telling her pretty much I'm not putting up with the nonsense anymore. So I blocked her. I really have nothing to say to her.
So leave then. Pack your bags and go. Except he doesn't. Instead, he decides to book himself a tour of Vietnam so he can have some company. But we'll get to that shortly. For now, let's check in with Violet. How's she feeling after being blocked? How will she ever recover?
Riley và bạn của anh ấy hoàn toàn thiếu tôn trọng tôi. Bắt buộc tôi phải trả lời những câu hỏi mà bản thân tôi cảm thấy không thoải mái.
Here's the thing. Riley's not completely the bad guy. Violet also has to take some accountability. Yes, he and his friend sprung a trap. They interrogated her and she doesn't like it. She felt humiliated, but he was asking a valid question. Why was Violet still on the dating app after she forced him to delete his account? Riley just wanted an answer to his question, but he went about it in completely the wrong way. The thing is, from Violet's perspective, what really angered her wasn't that the question was asked. It was who was asking the question. It was the fact that she felt ambushed. She was clearly expecting Riley to step in and support her, to maybe tell his friend to back off. Only he didn't do that. He was on Tiffany's side. And that seems to be what's really upset Violet.
Bảo vệ mẹ con đang này bắt mẹ là phải trả lời. Tôi không thể phát triển mối quan hệ với một người đàn ông nếu như tôi cảm thấy anh ấy không thể bảo vệ tôi.
But here's the thing. While Violet sees this as an attack by Tiffany, an attack that Riley failed to protect her over, is that really the case? Did Tiffany really ask the questions of her own accord? Or did Riley ask her to do it? Like, even the way he chose to excuse himself to have a bathroom break at precisely the right time makes me feel like this was all orchestrated in the hope that Tiffany would be able to get Violet to open up. But it was when that didn't happen that the real attack began, and Violet clearly feels let down by Riley's actions.
Mẹ tổn thương vô cùng luôn. Mày nhắn cho bác một đoạn văn rồi mày lóc bác.
Now, Violet blocking Riley is nothing new. This isn't the first time that they've blocked each other. which says a lot about their relationship and their maturity levels. But what's more interesting here is why exactly this perceived lack of protection from Riley triggered her so much. You see, it all stems from her last marriage. She shares how after the birth of her second daughter, her ex-husband didn't defend her against his mother. Violet's mother-in-law was criticising her for having another daughter instead of having a son, and her ex-husband apparently just stood there silent. Hearing her recount that experience definitely explains why feeling supported is just so important for her now. But I'm curious, what exactly was in that long message that she sent to Riley?
You trampled and insult me. You don't deserve to be a man. You want to know me. You have an uneducated, unscrupulous attitude. If you're like that, you should go away.
I know it's normal to fixate on the insults, but I feel it's really telling here that Riley skims past the part where Violet's upset, expressing how she feels, and instead of reflecting on how his actions caused that, he just sulks. He sulks when Violet questions his masculinity. I think Riley thinks he's a better man than he actually is. So he's shocked and appalled when he's called out for behaviour he doesn't even realise he's doing. But Violet's text isn't done yet.
If you come to Vietnam to meet my family is allowed to ask you. And when I come to your country, you are allowed to ask me. That sounds like I'm not allowed to ask him questions at all.
No? Well, Violet quite clearly says that as he's come to Vietnam to know her and her family, they're allowed to ask him questions. And the same would apply when she goes to visit him and his family in America. That's not the same as Riley's interpreted it. It's not that he's not allowed to ask questions at all. Actually, it wasn't even him doing the asking yesterday, was it? He left that to his friend. But after last night, is there even anything left between them?
For the last 2 years, Violet and I have been talking about being together and being a family. And I'm not sure if this relationship can be salvaged, or if I even want it to be salvaged, or she wants it to be salvaged.
I still can't even pinpoint what exactly they like about each other. They don't have much in common. They don't seem to have any sort of interesting conversations with each other. It almost feels like they're both just lonely people who have somehow settled with each other because it's easier. But surprisingly, in their dire situation, some similarities are actually becoming obvious.
Anh ta phải chủ động liên lạc với mẹ chứ mẹ không phải có lỗi.
I would meet with Violet, but it won't be because I reach out to her. She would have to make an effort to meet with me.
They're both stubborn. They both think they're right. They both want an apology. And they both want an explanation for each other's behaviour. They also both refuse to contact the other one first. So how long will this standoff last? Well, without Violet there to be his tour guide, Riley's finally putting on his big boy pants and leaving the hotel by himself. He's hired a guide to take him around Ho Chi Minh City by night on a bike.
This is crazy. This is amazing. I'm enjoying myself. I just want to make it from A to B in one piece.
That must have been quite the tour, because by the end, Riley's very self-reflective. He admits that his past trauma from being cheated on has affected the way he now trusts Violet, and he suddenly realises that he's been acting too sensitively.
At this moment, I don't know where we're at. And last night, to be honest, I wanted to take a flight home. But I had time to think about it, and I feel bad about my reaction to things.
Kudos to him for finally coming to these conclusions by himself. Maybe there's hope yet for them. Riley invites his tour guide for a drink and a cigar to finish off the night. But I get the impression he just wants someone to talk to.
I came to meet someone.
Wow.
Yeah. She's beautiful, but she's crazy. Ding ding gong gong.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't understand women here.
Yeah, no offence, Riley, but the fact that you started looking for love internationally makes me think that you probably don't understand women back home either. He begins to explain to his tour guide what went down at the dinner between himself, Violet, and his friend Tiffany. He hopes the tour guide might be able to give him an insight into what Violet was thinking. And I hope he tipped this man well, because the tour guide doesn't disappoint.
You treated your friend as family, but here family means real family.
She would have been more accepting of that question if it came from my father.
He explains that in Vietnam, blood is family, and Riley's father, for example, has a right to ask Violet questions like that. But to a Vietnamese woman, Tiffany, who isn't blood, has no right. And that's why Violet felt so disrespected. Now, at that present moment in time, Violet clearly was too upset to explain this to Riley. But even if she did, I don't think Riley would have been able to process it, given how angry he was. This tour guide, though, he probably works as a part-time couples therapist or something, because he departs some wise words on Riley after hearing about his anger issues.
Well, that's about our ego, right? Yeah. And when we cannot control our temper, kind of sad. And I can feel your sadness.
Yeah.
Riley is getting called out by this guy, and I'm here for it. From his perspective as a Vietnamese man, he tells Riley he should be the one to apologise to Violet, and he's left in shock when he finds out that Riley has blocked Violet. She's the one that should have blocked you, he tells Riley. But someone tell him not to worry, because Violet's been there and done that already.
You need to unblock her, as you know, and try to meet her again in person so she can apologize sincerely.
Thank you. I'm listening.
And it really does seem like he means it. Riley's finally ready to listen to what Violet's saying, instead of demanding answers to questions that he deems important. And while there is definitely an argument to be had that Violet's not giving Riley and his Americanism the same grace that she expects for her culture, that's a topic for another day. Perhaps a day where Riley's not in Vietnam trying to make a good impression.
I need to rethink my approach when it comes to Violet. But in the meantime, I'm making the first move, unblocking her, accepting my part and my role in what happened.
This appears to be a huge step for Riley, and whether or not it works out with Violet, it's an important life lesson for him to have. As for Violet, well, she's not off the hook yet. There's still a lot of questions about her secretive nature. So will Violet be willing to hear Riley out? Well, for all we know, she may already be too busy messaging shirtless selfie man.